Pollinators are very important. Without them, we would not have a majority of our food sources, medicines. We wouldn't have a lot of the materials we use in the day-to-day. So without a simple pollinator, our world would really slow down to a stop. How to support pollinators and get more of them to visit your garden? There's a variety of different ways you can do this. Planting a variety of plants with different flower shapes, sizes and colours. Variety is the spice for your garden. And the more variety you offer, the more different insects will visit your garden. Different pollinators like different shaped flowers. Larger pollinators such as bumblebees and butterflies, they like larger, more open flowers. They can land on it easily, feed quite easily. And whereas honeybees and wasps can fall into the trumpet flowers quite easily because they're smaller and land on flower heads to feed without any issues. So different flower shapes and sizes will attract in the different types of pollinators because of the fact that they can feed easily on different types of flowers. So if you have a garden filled with trumpet flowers for various different varieties of plants, or species of plant even, then you're not going to get any butterfly, well, minimal amount of butterflies. You might get a few visit it, but there won't be any way of them to feed in your garden. So they're not going to want to hang around. They're not going to want to stay. Planting trees, fruit bushes, shrubs can also help. The mass of flowers that trees will produce in a short space of time be great support for pollinators. They can also stretch the pollinating season as well. So you can get early spring flowering and later in autumn flowering as well to stretch the season. So you get the normal flowers from like the rest of your garden through the spring and summer. And then if you get some nice early flowering trees in and some nice later flowering trees, you can like stretch the season out to provide some really much needed nectar and both into the season, past the points they would normally have it. It's a really good way of attracting in more if you provide the food for longer, because like, at the end of the day, they're looking for somewhere to feed or somewhere that they can feed that's close to where they live. If it's like solitary bees, they're more likely to set up home, they can nest in your garden if there's a food source there. Like anything, it's quite a sensible thing to do, really. You make sure that you've got your amenities close by. So yeah, that's a good way of attracting more into your garden. Pollinators are very important. Without them, we would not have a majority of our food sources, medicines. We wouldn't have a lot of the materials we use in the day-to-day. So without a simple pollinator, our world would really slow down to a stop. From the perspective of your garden, on the other hand, it can mean the difference between a successful veg patch and basically a compost heap, or simply just happy, healthy, flowering plants. So pollinators are very important to our gardens, and really to play them down is a mistake. And because the benefits they provide for your garden are so much greater than just they're coming in to feed on nectar, you're keeping them happy and they're leaving. They will help your plants to complete their life cycle. They will help them to set seed. These seeds will then carry on the next generation. So next year, if you're leaving there to sell seed or you're collecting the seeds, you're going to have plants next year that you won't have to go out and buy. So there's a whole lot of different, that's just like skimming the surface of how they can provide support for your garden. Having a veg patch that actually provides food for you and having a full production value and having your plants setting seed and carrying on the life cycle, it is important. And it's important to keep the pollinators of the world like supported, not just for your garden, the knock-on effect throughout your neighbourhood, throughout your county, because bees go and travel a fair distance. So throughout your county, if you're keeping them happy in your garden, this will carry on through.